Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Tech Tuesday is coming up, and here's another one for you. We were doing a little bit on Land Rover the other day with regards to rough running engines and so forth, and it's only a part of it. So now it's running quite nicely, but if you do have a Land Rover that stutters a little bit and you already did this part and also took care of the fuel injectors on the channel, there's actually also a way where you can see how to clean a fuel injector. That should be on there too, and that is actually a fuel injector from this Land Rover right behind me. She's a little bit funny these days, and if you do have more coming up, it could be also your coils. So let's have a look at the coils this time, and I'll show you something that I figured out as well. I just recently changed all my coils from the originals to, I think this time it is not the originals that comes on, it's actually some kind of a Chinese product, and I think there's a lot of people out there that actually have bought them over the years, and they do have some problems. I've just figured out something really kind of important with it, and that is the connections inside of it are not the same. The consistency in the way they're connected are not the same in all of them. So I'll try to show you what the problem is in this case here. And you can also, when you take them apart slowly, you can see there's a little bit of a burn or a spark running on top of the spark plug, and that actually creates some corrosion that in turn also makes a malfunction of that coil up where they're connecting to the top of the spark plug. So if your spark plugs have a little bit of a dark spot up there or whatever, it could be a sign of you having a spark standing there as well. And you'll feel it like the Land Rover is actually stuttering a little bit once in a while, also at idle. Just once in a while, like in a blue moon, it goes dunk dunk and it kind of tips over, and that's one of those spark plugs, sorry, one of those coils that doesn't have a correct fitting. So let's pop the hood on this one, and let's get started. Here we go. Back to square one again, and let's go ahead and take every single one of them out, and that's where we go. Remember, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the pattern, the diagram of all the cylinders. So I'm just going to start on one side, finish up one side, then go to the other side, finish up that side as well. Which one you do take first doesn't really matter. Just make sure you take and finish up the job at either side that you're actually starting on. To demonstrate before I take the whole thing apart, what is actually the problem here. I got two coils. Well, I got so many because I bought so many for it after a while. Got a little bit tired of it. They are from the same manufacturer. They do look exactly the same, as you can see. No difference there. Also with metal on the outside and whatever. But there is actually a significant difference between the two. What I did was I took the first one that I know doesn't work, so I took that apart because I want to figure out what was wrong with it, because I figured this cannot be, I mean, this could not actually already been gone bad, because this is just like a year old, and that's basically what it is. And so therefore I took it apart. Anyway, I took a small Stanley knife and I cut this up, and you don't really have to do that, and then I pulled it apart, and when it came out, and this is what actually what I was meeting. This little spring here is where the problem really is, and it, first of all, is not long enough, and second of all, if you look very carefully here in the top, you'll be able to see that it's actually different colored compared to the other metal. And what they have in this case is actually the spark that's standing up there, and it's not having a proper thorough contact with, I'll see if I can make a close-up picture for you, so I can go ahead and make it a still picture so you can see it. But it's actually also started corrosion up there as well because of that, because it gets warmer there too. So this is partly one of the problems. So this is what we're gonna go and see if they're all like this, and then I'll go ahead and change it. Then I took another one and took that apart as well, and this time I got it off nicely with a screwdriver so I can use it again. And if you look at this, and this is a completely brand new one that works. This one has a significantly longer spring inside of it for the connections as the other one does. They are exactly the same, but I'll guarantee you this one here, if I put that one in, will not have a problem in the Land Rover, where this one will create a, you know, a little bit of stuttering engine when it's running, or a little bit of rough running engine with this one here as well. So this is definitely a lot better than that one. So let's go and have a look at what the other 8 that's actually in the car at the moment, how they look like. But this is generally the problem. So let's go ahead and see if we can figure it out. Stay tuned. Now, in order to get this off, this looks a little bit funny as well. Actually, I think this had the same problem. In order to get this off, I just take a wide screwdriver and lift it over the first part here, because there is a small sleeve all the way around. I'll show it to you here. This is the other one. So that sleeve is where it actually could be glued on the other side, but as soon as you actually lift that rubber over that sleeve, you should be able to take that apart. This has a very, very significant color up here as well, and definitely not getting a good contact on the spark plug itself. So this is what we're going to go ahead and take care of. So there's one of the problems, and I guarantee you there's so many of them that it's all 8 that needs to come out. So let's get started. Bad. You can actually see on here how it looks like. It's completely corroded, or has some falling over there, just like a spark plug on the inside, and that's where the problem is. So now to find a solution to go from here, that's going to be the interesting part. How do we get this sorted out? Because I don't have any coil that has this length. As you can see, there's a big difference in length on them. But this is generating a good contact, but they probably saved a little bit of, I don't know, metal in the production line. And we might have saved a cent, but then it leaves that up to our problem to fix it when it comes out here. And that's basically the problem. I know the last one's working because I just took that one. So I'm not going to go ahead and take the number 8 over there, but I'm going to go and take these ones over here instead and see what happens. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea what the problem really is in this case. I'll see if I can make a close-up picture of them and you can see that. I don't know if you can see it here, but this is basically what I'm talking about. If I can get the camera to focus on this, you can see the miscoloring on the between 10 and 2 o'clock over on this side. It's basically coal or carbon or debris from a spark that's been standing on top of the spark plug. And no wonder why once in a while you'll have a little bit of stuttering from the engine that way. And this is not the only one. If I take the other one here, it has the same. Not as bad, but it's there. If I take the longer one, the one I had here, I've actually tried to solder on that one. It has absolutely nothing on there. And it's got a perfect, good contact to the spark plug when you have it installed on the car. And that's definitely a lot better than the other one. How can I explain it? How can I show it to you? Here is a spark plug, an old one, but if you look at it here, it fits absolutely a lot better into this, whereas the other ones did not do that. The other ones, just to give you an idea, let's see if I can get it on here for you, they really have to get far into the head there before they have a contact. So I really believe that this is a major flaw, and this one here is definitely very, very visible. You can see how bad that one is up there. It's really bad actually, but that's just the way it is. Let me see if I can find a solution to go ahead and get a better contact on this one. Now look at each single one of them. I have them all lined up here straight in front of the hood, and this is very, very visible actually. You can see where the sparks are over there, and on the top side there, probably all the way from here to there on the other side. So that's actually from 9 to 3 o'clock if you could look at it like this, and that's where there's been a bad connection. This one here looks quite okay. It doesn't have the same kind of residue on that spring in there. This one here has gotten residue from here and then this way around, so that'll be from 7 o'clock to 2 o'clock over there. And this one that's here is really bad actually, because this is all the way around. It's got a very, very significant amount of debris on top there, as you can see, and it's not even blank anymore, and that can definitely give you some kind of a misconductive characteristics to your spark plug, and that could definitely easily give you a little bit of a rough running engine. But it'll work when you go ahead and put a load on it. However, when it goes idle, it tips once in a while, like ding, it stutters just once in a while, and it feels a little weird. So I think this is actually at fault. Go for the next one. This one here has got a very significant amount of carbon on the top all the way around. This one is perfect, doesn't have anything at all. That's really good. This has a little bit on the bottom part, carbon, and this one here has from here to 7 o'clock until about 11 o'clock up there. So they all are actually at fault except for one, which is this one there. But what's common for all of these, this is a whole line, a whole series I bought, all 8 of them at the same time, not even a year ago. So they can maximum have about maybe 25,000 to 35,000 miles on them, and they should definitely last a lot longer. If I go over and look at the ones I had before that looks like this, they're also from China. However, the spring and the connectivity on this one is a lot higher. If you look at it, it's almost double the amount of spring to put tension on the top of the spark plug, and that is a lot better to get a firm contact to the spark plug. And actually, both of those that I have here, because I threw out the other ones because I thought I solved the problem, but both of those doesn't have any debris on top, so they have been really well done. Now, the metal they use to do this is also probably different, because this is one set over here, and you can see those that I have right now are actually thinner in the conductor material. This is a little bit thicker as well. Now, if I take the original spark plug coils, this is the Densos made in Japan, the ones that came with the car, and I changed them when the car had 105,000 miles on it. And actually, I just did it because now it's going to be, that was one that was running rough, so I thought I'll take all of them to be good to the car. Well, that turned out to be a bad solution. I still have them all, and now I might even consider take some of those back. But if I look into this, there's absolutely no debris in there at all, and there's no carbon in there either. On top of that, it's a different leading material that probably is a lot better on those spark plugs than the other ones that are coming out right now. So this is the major difference. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and fix these. I might not be able to, and then I'll have to go ahead and go back to these, but this is basically the general problem that you're facing when you're looking at the spark plugs, and you might have a stuttering engine just once in a while, and you have been going through everything else and you can't figure out what it is, from fuel injectors to spark plugs to whatever it might be. So this is the problem that you might want to face and you might want to solve when you get out. This is the good ones, and these, and especially this one, is the bad one. So here's the problem with it, as you probably can see here. The spark plug goes in like this, all the way in. It's attached over here on top of on the coil, like that. When you take this out and you put it on there where it's supposed to be, you can see inside of it where it's supposed to be. If you hold it on there and you put the spark plug up, you can see how far in your spark plug is going to be in that cover, in the hat basically. And if you hold it there and you put it into the other one, you'll see that it won't even be snug fit here at all. It's just laying on top, and it's just going to bounce around, and that's creating that bad connection. And that's actually what happened in this case. These coils does not even have about, I think, 15,000 miles on them. This one here is the original from Denso, and it's got more than 105,000 miles on it. That's why I saved it. And you can see here as well how the wear and tear has been going on over the years. Is really incredible. But this works really well. It has a snug tight too, snug fit too. This one here, if you look at the one with the longer coil and you put this in, you can see here as well that when you put that in, it's got this much to be pushed in, and definitely has a very snug tight there as well, and that's why there's no debris on this spring. So basically, if you have any of these, and I have 8 here now, but if you have any of these coils, that could be a problem to a rough running engine as well. So have a look at that. Make sure when you take these hats off, just take a wide screwdriver and just loosen it all the way around on the inside, and you can always put it back on again. But getting it off without destroying it, that's the important part. So just take your time with that, but it's easy that way. Have a look at it. Could be your solution. Let me see what happens when I go ahead and squeeze them up, because I tried to solder them up. I can't, so I'll have to go ahead and probably squeeze one of them and make a test drive with that first. So stay tuned. And it's actually just screwed into the fitting inside of it, and then when you take them out, you can see how burnt they are as well. And that's the next problem. There's a misfit up in the coils as well, And if you look in there, it's going to be hard for you guys to see, but if you look in there, there's actually debris in there too that needs to be taken care of. So here's one that has bad connections in one end, but also in the other end. So this is of course a bit of a problem. When you put the bag in again to make sure you have connection, you just squeeze it that way and it will actually fit straight into the coil. I got one here that's got a lot of corrosion in it. I'm going to clean out with some WD-40. Then after that I'm going to go ahead and use some electronic cleaner, and then the spring should have a chance to get a snug fit in there as well and make a good connection. So let's try that out. Since I got the small springs, which are only this length at the moment, I pulled it slightly longer, so now it's not double length, but it's getting to about a maybe 3/4 further than it used to be. So putting it in should give a bit more tension on top of the spark plug. Then I'm going to go ahead and take the top part here as well and squeeze this a little bit so we can see it, but this is what I'm going to do. So right now it's this long instead, and I'm going to go ahead and put that back into the spark plug in the coil instead. There you go. Now it's all cleaned up, and that's what's going back in here. And let's see, turn it counterclockwise, and you can put it straight in with a small screwdriver like that, and it'll be a tight fit whenever you get it all sorted, but that's basically how you do it. There we go. There you go. Now the ones I had, I could only get them this far compared to the other ones, but that should be okay though. And then in the end out there, the last wrinkle, I've turned that across, so that's going to actually rest on the top, basically on the spark plug, and then it should be creating a good firm contact for a good spark in the cylinder instead of having it outside the cylinder. So let's try that. Just about getting everything set in again, so all the coils are now put back in place. I'm just needing a few over here, as you can see, and then it's ready to go out for a test drive. Just finished the work with all the coils, and I extended them, screwed them back in again because they're not attached down the bottom. It's actually just a spring that leans up against both contactors, and that's the reason for it. So I extend them a little bit, and then I turn it on the outside so it doesn't go over the end of the spark plug, but actually pushes it like with a really firm tension, so the contact is going to be made in both ends. So hopefully that's going to take care of it a little bit as well, and let's see what happens when we start it up. Fires right up. It runs nice. You see the choke is still on, so it's a little bit on RPMs, but it runs beautiful. As it is right now, as you can see, it's very steady on the RPMs. I have it in reverse right now. That's why it's down. Let me see if we can take it out of reverse. Let's see. It's in park right now, so, but it does not stutter. It has a nice and smooth engine run right now. I'm a little bit excited to go out and try it out actually. So no lights, no warning lights whatsoever in the cabin there, or sorry, on the instrument panel. So let's go out and see how it works when we start putting a little bit of load on it. It could be fun to see, so stay tuned. Well, I just took it out the driveway to check out how it runs, and it runs really smooth so far, as you can see. Absolutely no problem whatsoever, and it doesn't stutter. Even when I come to a halt, it's actually running smoothly as well. And I'm quite sure I hit one of the milestones here, especially on my car, because these coils were not that old, and they should be able to run a lot more than that. So right now it works pretty well. So we're out driving. Let's put some load on this and let's see what happens. It just pulls straight through with everything. I'm actually quite surprised how well it runs, but it runs really well. So it is a milestone, I'm quite sure. This combined with the injectors and also the gap on the spark plugs, if that's all adjusted, you should be absolutely just fine. And you should be able to enjoy your Land Rover with a very, very nice purring engine out there in the front with no tipping or stuttering or anything like that. It is because they saved a little bit of metal inside of the coils in this case, and I'm quite sure you guys will have the same experience once you have a look at it. They should be able to run between 50 and 70,000 miles before you need to change them, and also in my case. Anyway, stay tuned, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll come back with another video as soon as I can. And so far this is running absolutely superb, and I'm quite happy with it as it is right now. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.